You study a new word, you feel like you know it, and then 3 days later it is completely gone, like your brain just deleted it overnight. Sound familiar? You are not alone, and more importantly, it is not your fault. The way most people study vocabulary is just not how the brain actually stores language. Today, I'm going to show you 5 easy steps to remember English vocabulary so well that you never have to look the same word up twice. No flashcards, no memorization apps, just the way your brain naturally works. Let me start with why flashcards and vocabulary lists do not work well for most people. When you memorize a word from a list, your brain stores it in isolation, just the word and its meaning floating in a blank space with nothing attached to it. And isolated memories are the first ones to fade. Your brain is not designed to store random information. It is designed to store patterns, stories, emotions, and connections. When a memory has something attached to it, something visual, emotional, or contextual, it sticks. When it is just a word on a card, it does not. So, the goal is not to memorize words. The goal is to give every new word something to hold on to. Step 1. Learn words in sentences, not in isolation. Never learn a word alone. Always learn it inside a sentence that shows you how it is actually used. So instead of writing down hesitate to pause before doing something, write down she hesitated before answering the question. Or even better, write down a sentence from something you actually heard or read, a sentence with real context attached to it. When you encounter the word again later, your brain doesn't just retrieve the definition, it retrieves the whole sentence, the situation, the moment, and that's a much stronger memory. Step 2. Connect new words to something you already know. Your brain builds new memories by attaching them to existing ones. So when you learn a new word, find a connection. Does it sound like another word you know? Does it remind you of something you have seen or experienced? Does it connect to a topic you already know a lot about? For example, if you learn the word resilient, you might connect it to someone you admire who has been through something hard and kept going. Now the word has a face, a story, an emotion attached to it. That connection makes it almost impossible to forget. The stronger and more personal the connection, the better. Step 3. Use the word yourself as soon as possible. This is the step most people skip, and it's the most important one. The moment you learn a new word, use it. Write a sentence with it. Say it out loud in a sentence. Use it in your next English conversation, even if it feels a little forced. Here's why this matters. Every time you actively produce a word, your brain treats it as important. It flags it for storage. But if you just read a word and move on, your brain treats it as background noise, something seen once that probably doesn't need to be kept. Using a word turns it from passive knowledge into active knowledge, and active knowledge is what you can actually access when you're speaking in real time. Step 4. Encounter the word multiple times in different contexts. One exposure to a word is almost never enough. Research shows that most people need to encounter a new word somewhere between 10 and 20 times before it truly sticks. But those encounters don't have to be forced. You don't have to review the same flashcard over and over. You just need to keep reading and listening to real English. When you consume a lot of English content, words naturally repeat. You hear a word in a podcast, then you see it in an article, then you hear it again in a show. Each time, the word gets a little more familiar, a little more solid, and eventually it just becomes part of your vocabulary without you ever consciously memorizing it. This is why massive input is not just good for listening and grammar, it's one of the most powerful vocabulary building tools there is. Step 5. Review at the right time. Even with all of these steps, some words will start to fade after a few days. That's normal. The key is to review them just before they disappear. You don't need a complicated spaced repetition app for this. You just need a simple habit. Keep a small notebook or a note on your phone where you write down new words you want to remember, always in a sentence. Then, once a day, spend 2 or 3 minutes reading back through your recent entries, not to memorize them, just to see them again. That brief re-exposure at the right moment is enough to reset the memory and push it deeper into long-term storage. Do this consistently, and you'll find that words stop fading and start sticking permanently. So, here's the full picture. Learn words in sentences, not in isolation. Connect them to something personal and meaningful. Use them yourself as soon as possible, encounter them multiple times through real English content, and do a quick daily review of recent words to keep them fresh. None of these steps require flashcard apps, memorization drills, or hours of review. They just require you to engage with new words in a smarter, more human way. Your brain wants to remember things. You just have to give it the right conditions. That's it for today. If this helped you, share it with someone who is tired of forgetting every word they study, and drop a comment below. What's one English word you learned recently that actually stuck, and why do you think it stuck? I'm curious, and I know other learners would love to hear it too. See you in the next one.